Hey guys, what is going on? Back to a brand new video, and we're just gonna go over the Manfred press conference because he did his little meet the media, so no one would shoot his head off. Basically, it was like a horrible press conference, and Passon just calls him out left and right. Like it was basically like shortest form possible. It was like him going out there saying, "Hey, we're talking. We're gonna be super nice to them on Saturday when we meet. So if they don't agree, blame them and don't hurt me." Basically, what it was. It was just reassuring us that they actually do talk, and which is stupid because you shouldn't have to reassure us. You should just get the freaking deal done, man. This hour of media that he took, or like 45 minutes media time, it could be used to talking to the players, not the writers. Fuck the writers, man. Okay, well, he started off basically by saying they have agreed to certain terms. Those terms are there's a universal DH for next season, so that's huge. No more pitchers having to hit. 15 more jobs open up for players, and it means NL teams will have to be a lot more active trying to fill in that DH place for the season so they aren't really left behind if you think about it. So for the Braves, that means they can go back and get their outfield going, and there's a lot less worry about signing Freddie Freeman. Dodgers have to go find that DH. Brewers, everyone does. It's gonna happen, which means the day this lockout ends, the time in between them and spring training, which he said would only take about a week, is gonna be nuts. So, hopefully, another thing they agreed to is draft lottery. It is currently unknown how many teams, because he didn't say that. He just said they've agreed to a draft lottery against the will to some of the owners. The owners didn't want it, which is basically gonna be the owners that suck right now. And their teams are trash. So, you know, look in there. There's probably about 10 owners that were like, "Wow, do we need this? We're gonna lose 90 games next year. I kind of want my good draft pick." You know what? Shut up, man. Oh my God, my day's too. So yeah, the draft lottery got agreed upon, and there's no more draft compensation for rejected qualifying offers, which is very interesting, because like that adds more players getting drafted, which is a huge thing for players, and owners still feel like there's a bit of a reward for losing a player here. So that is very interesting that got agreed upon. It's just such a weird thing, but it's I don't know. That's my only one that I kind of sit at, and it's okay, like, I get why they've done it, but it also doesn't make a whole lot of sense in the same breath because, when we come to meet this new deal and then they have to go back into talks, that's going to be taken off the table because the owners are going to say, well, we've had 5 players walk that would have got us draft picks. We've been selecting here and here, and we would have had these guys. It's just, I don't think it's going to last. I think there's going to be a huge thing come next talks. So, yeah. But for right now, there's basically any team that lost a qualifying offer. So, I think the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, and I think the Mets did. I'm not sure. The Mets might not have. They get huge advantages in this upcoming draft for the next 5 to 6 years because they get extra draft picks beyond every other team, and then it's just equal. So, they took advantage in a sense of this qualifying offer thing. I don't know. I think it's weird, but whatever. He then went on to tell us that they are meeting Saturday with a deal or with a proposal. It's a good faith deal that they hope can trigger some stuff that leads to an agreement before the 26th, because the 26th is the start of spring training. So, yeah, that's what they're kind of hoping for. Good faith has been thrown all around a lot. I know the players don't think he's been dealing in good faith. Trevor May went off in his live stream, basically said the guy doesn't care what the players get as long as the billionaire owners get a lot of money. So, there's that. I don't know how good faith this deal is going to be. And he also is hoping that the union compromises on a lot of stuff. instead of getting a 50-50 split, I think he's hoping more for like a 60-40, 75-25 type of thing. And that scares me because the players don't seem like they're going to back down this time. Like they kind of want a bit more of an even deal. Obviously, no one's going to be happy come the end of the deal, but this kind of scares me. So, yeah. He also hasn't announced an official delay to spring training yet, which to me means that he is optimistic that a deal can still get done in the next 2 weeks because today is the 10th. And so they got 16 days basically until the first spring training game. And they say that it's going to take them about a week to get going and get everything turned around. So that's basically just players coming over, quarantining, and getting going. So that'll be interesting because every player's training right now, and if you're not, you're let down to your team. So sorry, that's just how it is. So yeah, that'll be interesting. So realistically, they have about 11 days because I'd say, you'd probably want a deal done 20th, 21st. That way they have the 21st to the 25th to kind of like sit back and go, okay, shit, you're good, get the hell out there type thing. Because I'm going for a 5-day. We ain't thinking 7-day week. It's a 5-day week. You're going. We can't delay. Or you cut out a week of spring training and you do 3 weeks of spring training, but you can't lose regular season games. That was a huge thing. He said we can't lose them. It's disastrous to the sport, which I 100% agree on. If we're losing regular season games, we are screwed. So yeah. Although I do think if there isn't a deal I'd say come like the 18th or 19th, we'll probably see him meet the media on the 21st, basically saying, hey, gotta delay spring training. We suck at negotiating, and that's just that. And it's like, well, you know what? Can't lie. Next, he said, then went on to say, Passon basically calls him out here and goes, do you think you still have faith that the season starts on March 31st like you guys have originally planned? And he kind of goes, call me an optimist or something, but I am very optimistic that we could start a season on time. So that's fun. If we can, it's such a good, at the end of the day, if we can get a season on time, it's a good time. Like, it's good. Like, we look back and go, you know what, those 3 months were hell, but we didn't actually miss much. Like, we didn't miss any important baseball games, which is opening day, game 1 to game 162. If we don't miss anything in that span because of this lockout, it went okay in the long run. You look at it and you go, you know what? It went well. We didn't miss anything. So hopefully, and then he said in his presser that there wasn't going to be much harsher penalties for salary cap, and that it's going to stay status quo. And then Passon, like 5 minutes after, basically went wrong. This is what 90% of everyone. This is what a league spokesperson, I think. I did have the tweet. I'm gonna go look for it real quick so I can read it out to you guys because it is just basically calling them out left and right. He says a league spokesman said Rob Manfred misspoke about the competitive balance tax today. What Manfred said was not true. He suggested that penalties for exceeding it are status quo. They are not. Each of the 3 thresholds is higher. Additionally, draft pick penalties are higher. So harsher penalties for teams that go over the tax dollar thing. Because they have like 3 things. So I think it's, first one I think is at 200. And then it was like 225. Then it was 250. I think. Or it might have hit 300. And if you went over the 200, you lost like a 35th round draft pick or something. And this one you went over, you maybe lost your 30th round. And this one's like, it wasn't harsh penalties. Like, very little stars come from 25 to 40. And it's kind of where they were losing draft picks, if I remember correctly. So I'm hoping with this, the first one, it's like a 15th round. And then we're talking like round 10. And we're talking like round 5 or 4. Like, I want to see harsh shit. That way teams that value, like the good teams that spend money still that value their draft picks, like the Dodgers. They come back down to earth a bit. They don't see the point in spending if they're going to lose their high draft picks. Kind of evens the field, I think. Makes everyone a little bit more competitive, which is kind of great. He also said they were talking about expanded playoffs, which I'm still at the no. I don't really want them. I think it just promotes mediocrity. Look at the NBA and the NHL. They play 82 games, have 16 teams make the playoffs, and none of them give a shit about the regular season because it doesn't matter. They take way more time off because they go, well, you know what? Half the league's getting in. As long as we can play better than these 8 teams in our conference, we're good. So I don't like the expanded playoffs. You play 162 to figure out who the elite crop is, and then you put them into a tournament to figure out who the best of the best is. So having expanded playoffs kind of kills the sport. I don't know. It kills the more competitiveness. And it's like, why? So, I don't know. And you know what? I'm a Jays fan. I would have benefited from it, and I still don't want it because I think it's stupid. Okay? Because if we're talking 14 teams, the San Diego Padres make the playoffs, and they went under 500 last year. Yeah, I think if we're talking 8, the Mets make it. There's 2 teams under 500. We need the best of the best. And obviously, one year a league, one-sided league is going to be better than the other. So this year, the American League was just, with their more, they had steps, like huge steps in more competitive teams than the National League. And next year, it'll be the National League or something. So that's why I don't think expanded playoffs are the greatest. I just don't think it benefits anything. So, yeah. And then, the meeting on Saturday, and then they hope to get something going. So it's going to be huge core economics. Manfred's very confident in this deal that it gets something going to the point that he can get a deal done. I just don't think it'll be in time for spring training, which sucks if you think about it. Like spring training, players don't want to lose. Dante Bichette had to resign from the Blue Jays so he could work with his son. He lives in the same city as his kid, and he couldn't work with him. So he was like, I'm just going to resign for a little bit, and then I'll sign back. Like, I think that's stupid. The countdown for pitchers and catchers reporting is next week, starting on the 14th. So, I think some would have already, reported. So I get there's probably some that can't go into the facilities, but there's probably some down by the training sites, working out in Dunedin, I guess just Florida and Arizona. So, I don't know. It's going to be fun, but it's not. I just can't wait till this is done so we can do a huge stream on free agent signings. But there's the Manfred recap. They've agreed to universal DH, draft lottery, no draft pick compensation for rejected qualifying offers. They're meeting Saturday. It's a good faith deal. No official delay to spring training yet. Believes he can start the season on time. Harsher penalties for salary cap. Penalties are higher for the draft pick. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. We're getting back into the swing of things. Lockout's been very hard to get baseball content going. But now that it seems like we're probably going to start getting baseball back, I do think there's going to be a deal by the end of the month. So, we're going to have baseball back. So, that's good. So, I'm going to try and get back into the swing of things. So, peace. And subscribe.